I don't. Well, see, I was gonna say I don't swear, but I'd be lying if oh, dog, if I don't, if I tell you I don't swear. Swearing is, I often look at it as if you swear a lot, especially just in your everyday language, I always look at that as like, come on, you couldn't come up with different words than that. I've actually said that to people. But in a fit of anger, when you step on that Lego block, I've had to go back to the kids and apologize. My 19-year-old the other night, oh, sorry about that. But it does have a place, perhaps. Joining us now, Dr. Marie Cosgrove, who is passionate about helping people bounce back from adversity. She herself did so, overcame a traumatic childhood. She's an award-winning speaker and author of this book. It's Greater Fortune, Essential Lessons from the Entrepreneur Who Bought the Company That Fired Her. Dr. Cosgrove's been on with us before, so I welcome you back. Dr. Marie Cosgrove, hi, welcome to your Morning Wake Up.
Oh, great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Or as we like to call it, your Morning Wake Up. Swearing, huh? Is there something here? Is this, can it be good for us? Does it keep me from having a heart attack?
Well, they've done studies where, like, say you put your hands in cold water, there's a lot of pain. So you curse, and it helps alleviate some of that pain. Now, that's completely different from cursing at your coworkers or having a fit of anger and just cursing at everybody you see, And
Yeah.
But you have to look at the bigger picture. They've done laboratory-based experiments, and it shows that there's actually some cognitive effects. It actually interferes with your cognitive processing. In other words, it can also interfere in the way of thinking as well. So like you said, you hear someone using all this, flowery language, a lot of profanity, and you're like, come on, pick another word, or I also do stand-up comedy, and some comics, that's all they do is profanity, and nobody's laughing anymore because it's like, can you think of something else that's like funny? And they found that actually comics that don't use profanity are funnier.
Oh,
so now
one of our favorite things.
Comics.
Right. We were talking about TikTok a little while ago, but on YouTube, there's a whole channel called the Dry Bar Comedy Club. And these guys are funny and not a swear word there. Not at all. And I think really that's the low-hanging comedic fruit. It's not comedy, like you said. It's shock value is what it is. But those people who say drop an F-bomb every sentence, it's like the F word has just become a bridge word now, like saying which I do a lot, I know. But how did we get to that?
Well, yeah, it does. Profanity does lose its effectiveness when it becomes like an everyday word. And it's just part of our culture where we've come to where we are now. But, and then these studies that are coming out, some people are thinking, well, maybe it's actually a good thing because I also do motivational speaking and inspirational speaking. And I've heard some speakers try to insert some of this profanity because of these studies. But what they're not looking at the big picture. They're not looking at, looking at it in context, because it's like when you listen to music and it has this big emotional response and a meaningful moment, and there was a song that was playing during that time, and you hear that song, you remember that moment. And profanity has a tendency to do that. I mean, you're growing up, your parents telling you don't use profanity. So people use it, it has an emotional response, but it does lose its effectiveness if it becomes like an everyday word.
And culturally, well, I mean, both from mom and dad, but culturally, if you're around it, you tend to do it, right? I mean, you are where you are.
Exactly. It develops a habit. Like it impacts your autonomic nervous system, which it becomes automatic, which means that it's something that you automatically do. So those, for example, I had mentioned earlier, those companies that started putting in these rooms where you could just smash things, it actually created an autonomic response where people got angrier.
Yeah, because you've set a precedence in your mind. It's like muscle memory or something like that. We're talking with Dr. Marie Cosgrove about the power of swearing. I will say this, though. My dad, and my mom to an extent, but my dad could swear like crazy. Never dropped an F-bomb that I heard, but he was an old school guy that was, would say stuff. And also a smoker. And a drinker. Now, I will have a beer from time to time, a glass of wine with dinner. I have never smoked in my life, and I'm not a swearing kind of person. So it can have the opposite effect, can it not?
Oh, absolutely. You learn how you don't want to be, right? So absolutely it can have, it all depends really on the person and the character of that person. So we're all individuals, and absolutely you can, I know I'm completely opposite of the people that raised me.
Yeah. Right, and that's a whole nother story. You overcame traumatic childhood at 8:45. I think, can give us. I hate to rip off the Band-Aid here, but just a little bit of that story, can you?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm a product of rape. I was born to a mentally disabled single mom, and she was in a car accident that caused brain damage, permanent brain damage. And because of the medication she was on, it caused schizophrenia. Lots of profanity. And she used some Spanish words that I didn't know what they meant when she was angry. And I didn't realize, I didn't even know what they meant until I grew up. And I was like, oh, she was calling me a rotten potato head. That's not that bad. But she was raped during her recovery, which, growing up, I was told to keep this a secret and not tell anybody that I didn't have a dad. But of course it came out, and I grew up in a small community. So I had a lot of trauma growing up. First, poverty, having a mom that was schizophrenic, going through being bullied at school because of it, being told your mom's crazy, we can't talk to you, we can't play with you. And so growing up, I had very low self-esteem. I ended up getting married into a domestic violence situation. And that's generally what happens. It's you develop this pattern of something you're used to, abuse, but you don't recognize it. And it's something that I had to work through and recognize my value and recognize that we all have value. It doesn't matter where you come from or your circumstances. You can actually change that. And you can change the way your nervous system responds to things instead of reacting. And a lot of us that have had trauma have a hard time doing that, but it is possible because I've done it. And so I coach people and business people on how to do this as well. And I was very successful in business, and I think I drew on that. I thought, wow, this is what makes me an important person. But I came to realize that no, money does not make you, or it doesn't, you're not a person of value because you have money or you don't have money. You're a person of value. You have a purpose, and it's just finding out what skill sets you have so that you can use those to make the world a better place. And so I work with people and companies to help identify what are those skill sets. How can we invest in you so that we can utilize these either in the workplace or to start your own business or create your own business and make the world a better place.
You have said so much in beyond the words you've just said. And Dr. Marie Cosgrove is with us. And you started off saying you were the product of rape, your mother's schizophrenic. In today's political environment and maybe regular environment, just a social, you would have been aborted.
Absolutely. In fact, the doctors said they had to abort because there was no way that I would be born without any mental or physical handicap. And ironically, the company that I bought that fired me, that's what we do. We help patients with traumatic brain injury, like what my mom went through.
Look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a stunning example. Is Dr. Cosgrove Not the norm, maybe, but it's possible. And if there's one possibility, then there's others. That's a direction I didn't plan on taking the whole thing, but it's a shining example right there. And God love you for what you're doing. Dr. Marie Cosgrove, her book is Greater Fortune, Essential Lessons from the Entrepreneur Who Bought the Company That Fired Her. Boy, wouldn't you love to do that? This is a book I want to delve into a little deeper, but I hope you and I will stay in touch. And, the power of swearing. Boy, I still got to say, stay away from the F-bomb. Would you just... There. I'm just going to carry around that little noise with me and just do that. Doc, God love you, and thank you for coming on today and for telling your story. It's inspirational. I hope you go around and you're available to, I would think, to give that story to groups and stuff, right? You give the talks?
Absolutely. Yes, I do. I'm a speaker, so you can reach me at mariecosgrove.com, and I do motivational talks and inspirational talks all over the world. And, yes, I am available.
All right. We will be in touch and stay in touch, Dr. Marie Cosgrove. I love it. All right, we're going to cut you loose because I've got some groovy news that I want to get to here in just a minute. But have a great day, would you?
You too. Thank you.